Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the Jungle Cup Little Edition. I don't know how many people are actually going to play this cup, but still, for you who are interested in this cup, we're going to have a video out here today breaking down a few of the teams that you can run. It is going to be basically a Skill meta, and of course, like the 500 CP variant of it is not as interesting for most people. There was actually before also some Jungle Cup Great League Edition before, but like this has not been the case here this season. I feel like there were a lot of Lily Cups this season as well. But anyway, we're going to move on straight into the meta. If you want to, leave a like and support the channel, I would really appreciate it. And let's move on to the meta. We're just going to see a little bit of the core meta. We're going to see that Steelix is very good with a Dragon Tail, and then we have a little bit further down Skorupi, Fletchling with Quick Attack Swift is kind of interesting, especially with Fly being added on this Pokemon. Not too far ago basically as well. But yeah, otherwise we're going to have Pokemon like Cubone there with Mudslap, we have Inkay with Psywave. We're going to have some interesting Pokemon like Geodude, Shadow, just the normal variant. And this thing as well with like those little cups where there is not like a core meta, to be fair, really here. Like a lot of Pokemon just have some play because there's so little bulk involved into it. There's not really a crystallized meta, like you're always going to be able to play a lot of Pokemon that are way further below this list as well. We have some in this video in here as well. But yeah, we're going to have some interesting Pokemon, and I kind of wanted to focus on some Pokemon that I just found interesting. For example, we're going to have a Swablu team here because I didn't expect this Pokemon to be at rank 27. But yeah, this is going to be it for the meta, and we're going to move on to the team number 1. Here, for example, I have Pikachu. Also Corviknight in there. Corviknight, very interesting Pokemon. We're going to have Pangoro on the lead. There's some other options compared to Pangoro as well, but I feel like Pangoro is just the best one. There's some Dark and Fire type Pokemon. Pikachu Libra is going to be actually a very strong Pokemon that's not in the top 30, but is very, very solid in this meta, and we're going to see it already in the meta ranking as well. This is the thing as well, which I kind of talked about. Basically, there are a lot of Pokemon that are going to be below the normal meta rank that has a lot of play against the current meta. There are just so many of them. Just because we don't have like this one bulky Pokemon that's all kind of destroying everything. In Lily Cup, it's quite commonly seen that basically nearly every Pokemon has some play in certain situations. You can like it, you can dislike it, depends on what your standpoint on this is. But anyway, we're going to see here that Corviknight is actually really good fit together with the Pangoro, which is not too surprising because we have a lead that's going to be weak to Fairy type Pokemon and Flying type Pokemon. We have a Pokemon in the back that can deal with them. So yeah, this is going to be a very, very solid team. I really like the idea of having a fighter in the lead and Pikachu Libra with the move Flying Press as a safe swap. Flying Punch would be also kind of cool. But yeah, this is going to be it for team number 1. Again, this is going to be more of a shorter video as well, most likely. There's not really a lot to talk about for this cup. Next up, we're going to have here the Steelix in the lead, or rather the Swinub. Swinub is actually really cool for this team, I like this a lot. There are not really a lot of good Fire-type Pokemon. The best one is at, I think, rank 40 Numel with Ember and Stomp. So that's a little bit of a weird one. We're still going to have a team with a Fire-type Pokemon later on. But so you can maybe actually allow yourself to have the weakness of Fire types with this team, because again, there are not really a lot of Fire-type Pokemon around. Swinub still can deal quite a lot of damage against a lot of Pokemon. Skorupi has still access to the Awkward Tail, which is kind of nice. And so I feel like this team definitely still should work out quite well. Swinub is going to be able to beat quite a lot of the meta Pokemon, especially thanks to Icy Wind and Powders now. And this allows us as well here to beat some Pokemon that you would have not been able to beat otherwise. They're a little bit weak to the Ice typing. You need a little bit of coverage for the backline for that one. And so I like this a little bit more than actually the matchup with the Steelix. But again, like, both going to be working out quite well, I have to say. And so we can move on to the next team. We're going to have Skorupi in the lead, and we're going to have 2 Pokemon weak to fighting in the back. So Skorupi I kind of want to keep alive here. You're going to have one of the best answers to fighting type Pokemon with that in the lead here. Skorupi having access to the Bug and Poison typing, both resisting fighting. We have Miltank as our safe stop, being kind of an anti-flying type as well here, with Ice Beam as the coverage move. And in the back we're going to have the Steelix, and as you're going to see here as well, that's a very solid team. Definitely makes a lot of sense. You have 2 Pokemon in the back as well that can deal with Skorupi, which is going to be the most common Pokemon for this meta. And it just seems very, very solid on paper. Again, like, nothing too crazy. It's just a meta team that you can run. And you don't even really need to double move, at least the Miltank or also the Steelix here. I feel like Body Slam is kind of enough for you, but also something like Psychic Fangs would be enough for you as well to have. You don't always have to double move in those metas. Team number 4, we're going to have Inkay here in the lead, we're going to have the Say Swap of Skorupi, we're going to have the Skrelp on the back, and we're going to have a classic dark double poison line, like nothing too fancy. We're going to have a poison type that has access to Awkward Tail as a Say Swap, but also we're going to have another Awkward Tail user in the back there with Water Gun as well. Skrelp, very cool Pokemon, very similar matchups to Skorupi for example as well here. Is able to resist everything from Skorupi, so it's actually a solid answer towards it as well. And so yeah, this is going to be, for this team again, very solid. Inkay is a interesting Pokemon here with Psywave Night Slash. It's going to be very interesting to see on how strong this is. I actually haven't tried out Inkay yet, but this looks like a very solid team. And we can move on to the next one there. I want to say next opponent, but there's not a battle here. Team number 5, we're going to have the Greninja in the lead, which I like to see a lot of times together with Drapion as well as Skrelp. Actually, PvPoke says that Shadow Drapion is not allowed, but I think you can actually get this Pokemon. So yeah, as you're gonna see here, the Greninja is going to be very solid in the current meta. Like, just generally speaking, a very fast-paced Pokemon are always really good in those kind of metas because you just don't really have a lot of bulk, so whoever gets to the charge moves first usually wins. We're going to have some coverage in the back there with the Drapion. Here Skrelp, you can use Skrelp on the back as well. Here Quillfish is totally fine. Paldean, Wooper is totally fine. All of them work out really well. So yeah, choose whatever poison type you really want to. Water poison still works totally okay there. And as you're gonna see here, this team looks really good. Again, Zigzagoon can be a bit of an issue. I don't think you're going to encounter a lot of Galarian Zigzagoons because guess what? You need to fully excel this Pokemon as far as I know. So it's a bit of a trickier Pokemon to get. Ducklet can be a bit of an issue, but again, like everything is kind of more neutral. And Paldean Wooper is actually very interesting as well. Having access to the move Poison Jab as a fast move can help it out in some scenarios. Next up, we're going to have team number 6, where you're going to have the Purrloin and the Ducklet as well as the Jumpluff. And as you're going to see here, this looks like a busted team, like literally, there is not really a single Pokemon that I can see currently that can break this team. Like literally, there's not a single Pokemon that can really break this team, and that kind of showcases already on how strong this is. Purrloin, basically leave the shields for Purrloin, just win the lead matchup with it, then maybe swap out into Ducklet, and then align your Jumpluff later on, and you're usually going to be able to win this one, because as you're gonna see here, it basically beats everything. Purrloin with shields is really strong, because they have Sucker Punch and Night Slash, both being stabbed, and it's kind of overpowered. And then again, of course, the backline is going to be here very interesting with the Ducklet, as well as the Jumpluff being, against fighting type Pokemon, really strong. The other weakness of the Dark type, the Fairy type Pokemon are not as great for you, but like it's still going to be okay. And so yeah, this is going to be a very solid team, and we can move on to team number 7. I need to have a little bit of a Mudslapper here. We're going to have a Golett team. Golett, Miltank, Ferroseed. We have the lead that's going to be able to beat Fighting type Pokemon with the Say Swap that kind of tries to bait them out, but also going to be decent against Flying type Pokemon, which you're going to struggle with the Mudslap Golett. And Ferroseed in the back, look at how strong Ferroseed looks like. It is quite ridiculous, but also you're going to have a lead that's going to be good against Fire-type Pokemon. You have a Say Swap that can bait them out, but still is very solid against them. And in the back you have the Pokemon that really doesn't know how to face them. So Golett and Ferroseed is basically nearly perfect on paper, which is kind of cool. So those two really help each other out. And I think that's going to be a great team to run as well. If you have the Pokemon again, you don't actually need a double move on Golett, Ferroseed, or Miltank here. You can run them all single moved if you want to. Go for Mud Slap and Shadow Punch, go for Miltank for Rollout as well as Body Slam, and for Ferroseed just Metal Claw. If Iron Head is totally fine, you actually really don't need Flash Cannon. So it's going to be a very cheap team to run as well, just don't double move. Next one, we're going to see here some more we actually do need to double move other than Cubone. Cubone you don't need Dig at all, just keep a single moved with Bone Club and Mud Slap, that's totally fine. Digger Spear is going to be very cheap to build as well, because again you don't need any X-Alchemy gear in this case, because it's the 500 CP variant of it. And you're going to have Fire Punch and Scorching Sand, of course being very solid, being a buff Pokemon. And then we're going to have the Swablu in the lead. This team can struggle against Fletchling. I'm not too sure on how good Fletchling is and how common Fletchling going to be, but then we're going to have other answers that are going to help you with that. For example, our Onix in the back, or the Pikachu here, going to help you out quite a bit with it. So those are going to allow you to not have any issues with them. This would work out really well for the team as well. And we can move on to team number 9, which is going to be more of a toxic one. We're going to have basically a smack hole here, or like a rock throw hole, with the Onix as well as the Geodude. You can also use Shadow Onix if you want to, but basically Cottonee is elite, Stays Up is going to be Onix, and the back is going to be Geodude. You have a solid answer against all the flying type Pokemon that are very solid, but you're also going to have a very good answer against Skorupi, as you can see here. And I think it's going to be a very solid team to run, I have to say. I do think that those rock-type Pokemon are going to be very solid because they do a lot of fast move pressure, and fast move pressure is super important here. Steelix is currently running usually the move of Dragon Tail, which makes Cottony a very good answer to it. And so I think this is going to be a great team to run, and I think that's going to be a very toxic and fast team to finish up your battles. And the final one, we're going to take a look a little bit at some Fire-type Pokemon. I know that Salazzle is basically impossible to get, but Talonflame isn't, and Talonflame is the main Pokemon I wanted to build a team around. And this is a team that, if you follow the channel for a bit, is quite familiar to you, because we had very similar archetypes before. We had like Talonflame, the Pharaoh Thorn, and then back in the day it was like Vigoroth a lot of times. Or recently we also tried out, for example, the Morpeko, which worked out really, really well, but like this core is something that I've been playing for quite a long time, and it's a very, very solid core to play, and as you're gonna see as well, on paper this team looks really amazing, and I should definitely think that's going to be a team that's gonna work out for you. But yeah, again, Talonflame needs Incinerate, which is kind of important for this Pokemon, but that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye bye.